I decided to foster with Blue Sky because my friend completely raved about you, and the service I've had, to be fair, has been next to none. It's literally, I can't fault one person. Even the slightest of questions when I've needed to ring and just ask a question, somebody's always on the end of the phone, and they've been completely supportive throughout the whole journey. So before I fostered, I was a stay-at-home mum until I had my third child. And then I went into working at a local primary school. I became a HLTA, which is slightly higher than a teaching assistant, so I did have my own classes. Just to be able to think that you can help so many different children, do so many different things. That was my goal. At the school, I ended up being a mentor. I ended up being able to do attachment-based work with children. And I just thought if I would be able to just give one child the most amazing experience that my 3 children have had, then they would be lucky, and I would be just as lucky, to be fair. So the application process for Blue Sky was slightly different than I imagined. I thought you would just make a phone call and have a few checks and everything would be done, but that's far from it. They find out every single little tiny thing they can find out about you, which is correct because that's what they need to do, and work through it with you. You're never alone to have to work with everything. There's always somebody there. Waiting for my first child, I have been the most impatient person you can imagine. Because I wanted to go to Pano and the next day get the child. It doesn't work like that at all. Once I'd been to Pano, I was then recommended to do respite, which I did throughout the whole of the summer holidays. So respite is when you are looking after somebody else's child for a short period of time. I had a mixture of different children, which was fantastic, but all the time in the back of my head I was waiting for that one referral to be my child for my forever child. And I had a really good connection with the TLC team. One of the ladies there, we've grown really fond of each other and we're really good friends. She learnt so much about me that she managed to find the perfect match. And as soon as I got that referral through, I was so excited. I wanted her to arrive the next day. The waiting process, you have to wait for the right one. They don't ask you to wait for no reason. You're waiting because they want you to have the perfect child that you're going to end up looking after forever. So the support I've received from the Blue Sky team has been, well, it's been amazing. I don't have one bad thing to say about anybody. They seem to have the most amazing staff that work for them. They're so caring and loving, and nothing is too much trouble for anybody. From someone who's really high up in the company to somebody who's just a foster mum like myself, they've always been at the end of the phone for any questions that I've had. If somebody doesn't know the answer, they will find it out for you. And they just care about you, and they care about these young children. Any training that I'm being given is all through Blue Sky. If I've wanted to find out more about something, someone's put me in the right direction, or I wanted to learn a little bit more about a behaviour issue that a child had, then someone would recommend a book, or they would say it's nice to watch, if you watch a film about this. And it just opens your eyes to it all and makes you realise that it's magical. It's just one of the best things in the world, to be fair. If that makes sense. It is. As you can tell, I love it.
That is great.
Yeah.
Really great.
So the training that Blue Sky provided us with was extremely helpful. I was quite lucky because in my previous job, I did a lot of training for children with additional needs, and I definitely think that's helped. But you don't have to have that, because they do provide you with all the training. There's not one training course you can't do. And then you are actually allocated a password for a system where you can go on and request to do different trainings. If there's any on there that's not, you just ring through to the office and say you'd like to do Teams training or something different, and they'll allocate you the space and time to be able to do the training. Fostering means everything to me. I thought that I got job satisfaction from my job of working at the school. I used to mentor a handful of children and used to think that I could help them as much as I possibly can, but as soon as the end of the day comes, them children still have to go home and deal with the situations at home, whereas I've had the opportunity to foster one child and be able to change her life completely and give her everything that she's ever needed. And to think that I am the lucky one, to be fair, to be chose to have her and vice versa. It's just, I can't even put it into words because it's magical. It's like the best feeling in the world to think that you're just helping one other child. It just, it makes me feel all warm inside. If that makes sense. It does, it makes me feel amazing. I think the most rewarding part of fostering, before you have your own foster child and you have children for respite, that's very rewarding, just to think that you've been able to help another foster parent or foster carers out for the weekend, to be able to give them some time so that their foster child can come and spend some time with you. That's like the real fun part of it. That's, you get to do things with them that they've probably never experienced, or little things, or they've probably never been to where you live or experienced different culture and things. Just to be able to look after my foster child, I think it's, there's no words. You just, there's no words. I don't really know what to say. I'll cry. Because I get emotional about it. I'm just so blessed. To be a great foster carer, I just think you need to be really patient. Always be there in the morning just to say good morning to them, or to drop them off at school and to tell them to have a good day. It's just simple little things. You haven't got to be the most amazing person in the world. You just have to be you, and you just have to want to give them everything that you possibly can, and just make them feel like they're part of your family and that nothing's going to change. You're there to look after them and support them. And laughter's amazing. To be able to sit and laugh with them at the silliest things, it makes your heart melt. Yeah, it really does. If you're thinking about becoming a foster carer, I would just say pick up the phone and ring Blue Sky and just say that you're interested, and the rest is really simple. They pretty much do everything for you, to be fair. I feel like there's always different situations where people think that they can't be a foster carer because they're a single mum or because they're a single dad, and none of it, that doesn't mean anything. You can foster a child as long as you have a loving home. It makes no odds. The child is still going to be loved. Yes and no. Yes, in the fact that it's been everything and more, being able to love for another child. And you feel like when you have your own children, I truly believe that my heart wasn't big enough to love anybody else. But as soon as that one other child entered my house, there's no doubt about it. It's just the love you feel for them and the protection that you just want to look after them and care for them is absolutely amazing. The no bit is probably from respite, and I learned an awful lot from respite, as in the fact that not every child's the same. Some children have really got additional needs that you need to be trained and aware of things like that. And some children that I had during respite were very tricky, but I think as long as you've got the mindset that you're not going to give up and you're really going to try, and there's always someone on the end of the phone who will talk to you. And during respite, I've had to make phone calls and say, like, I need help or advice with this, and somebody's helped me straight away. So there's never really been a problem. I've had quite a few, to be fair, with different children. Being able to offer respite to a child in the summer holidays who'd never been fishing. My son absolutely adores fishing, and the child we had for respite said there was no way he was going to hold a fish or even go fishing. And within the first hour, he'd held a fish and ran around the fishing lake screaming because he was so excited. I just wanted to cry, because that's something he would have never experienced. And unless we had sat there with him and explained to him that the fish isn't going to hurt him and nothing bad's going to come of it, he's just going to get to hold it, and that experience will stay with him forever. So I'll always remember that. And another child, taking them to play crazy golf. They didn't even know what to do with the golf ball. So to be able to just show them, and then by the end of the golf course, them being able to get a hole in one, and them just turning around and smiling at you and just saying thank you. And you think that's just precious moments, isn't it? Very precious, yeah. I think the hardest part of fostering has probably been, for me, trying to get everything right. And you can't get everything right. As a foster carer, I've learnt so much since having my placement child, my forever child. It's not all black and white, and it's very much pick your battles with different things. They've come from such a traumatic experience, and some of them will never get used to the fact that they have a clean bedroom or clean clothes or there's food on the table. But just to think to be able to offer them that, it just makes it all worthwhile. I would just like to say to the Blue Sky staff that you are all amazing, and the work that you do is absolutely incredible. I will say, Ashley, you are, well, yeah, it makes me emotional. You are, lovely. You're all lovely. I've experienced the most amazing time with you, and now I've got my forever child. I'm one of the lucky ones, and I feel so privileged to be able to get to look after her that, yeah, it's just even down to the social work, down to everybody, that all of you. If I could name you all, I would, but I can't. But yeah, you've all been amazing. Thank you so much.
Maybe emotional.
It is emotional. I love it that I got to do it.
No, honestly, I'm like, we're so grateful to have you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, your child is so grateful to have you as well.
I'm lucky to have her, I think. And my 3 boys. I'm very lucky. I'm such a lucky one. Yeah.